March 6, 2025. Daily Bread. Passage: Genesis chapter 18 verse 1 to 15. Key verse. Verse 14. Title: Sarah will have a son. And the Lord appeared to him by the oaks of Mamre, as he sat at the door of his tent in the heat of the day. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing in front of him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the earth, and said, O Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree, while I bring a morsel of bread, that you may refresh yourselves, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant. So they said, Do as you have said. And Abraham went quickly into the tent to Sarah and said, Quick! 3 seahs of fine flour! Knead it, and make cakes. And Abraham ran to the herd and took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to a young man, who prepared it quickly. Then he took curds and milk and the calf that he had prepared, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree while they ate. They said to him, Where is Sarah your wife? And he said, She is in the tent. The Lord said, I will surely return to you about this time next year, and Sarah your wife shall have a son. And Sarah was listening at the tent door behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in years. The way of women had ceased to be with Sarah. So Sarah laughed to herself, saying, After I am worn out, and my Lord is old, shall I have pleasure? The Lord said to Abraham, Why did Sarah laugh and say, Shall I indeed bear a child, now that I am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return to you, about this time next year, and Sarah shall have a son. But Sarah denied it, saying, I did not laugh. For she was afraid. He said, No, but you did laugh. Daily Bread Message. After Abraham's household had been circumcised, God visited again in the form of 3 men. In the heat of the day, Abraham, even at 100 years old, hurried to welcome them, hurried and ran to serve food, and waited on them. What gave him such vigor? It seems the promise of God regarding the birth of Isaac reverberated in Abraham's heart, filling him with joy and spirit. Faith in God's promise renewed his strength like a soaring eagle. Joyful faith is the secret of youth. God had not come only to visit Abraham, but to address Sarah. Abraham had heard it before, but Sarah seemed to be struggling, even laughing at the announcement, just as Abraham had done. It was not a laugh of joy, but to cover a lifetime of pain, shame, and longing. God understood Sarah, and gave her one word to hold on to. Is anything too hard for the Lord? God would turn her embarrassing laugh into an endless source of joy for them at the birth of Isaac, whose name means laughter. In the same way, God understands each of us, and sent His Son Jesus to us to address the inner reality of our heart. We need only trust Him and His promise, and experience the joy of faith today. Prayer. Father, thank you for healing my deep wounds and longings through Jesus. Help me to trust you today and experience the joy of faith. One word. Jesus came to heal our wounded hearts.